And finally, after watching the last videos of me masking up the helmet, putting the silver down, and finally putting some of the masking fluid down, we're at the stage where we can start airbrushing these things. Like I said, you don't need an expensive airbrush for this. I usually use a double action. I can't think of the name of it. I picked up a nice compressor off eBay. If you want to go with a nice kit, you're looking at, entry range, about £100. That'll cover you for a compressor, a nice double action airbrush, and some jars. For this thing, this paint job, I wanted to show you that you can do this on a budget and still have a very, very nice helmet paint job. I picked up one of these cheapo airbrushes. I believe it's called a Spraycraft airbrush. It's a single action. You can't really control. There's not much control with it. I painted my first helmet with this one, so it can be done. Instead of running off a compressor, you want to pick yourself up some of this. This is just a can of air, airbrush propellant, compressed air. Just hook your airbrush up to this, and this is what will give you the power. Like we said, we're going to be using mainly humbrals for this colour. The first colour we're going to be putting down is the grey on the back panels, and it is Matte 106, which is a very light grey colour. Like I said last time, I will put a colour list in this video in the link below. Go on there. We will be changing some colours around. It's mainly preference, the type of helmet you want to go for. It's your helmet, paint it how you want. So as well as the paint, we're also going to need some thinner. This is the humbrol thinner. You don't want to use the cheap nasty thinners you can buy in your DIY shops. You want to go with the nice stuff. And don't clean your airbrush with this is quite expensive. Speaking of cleaning, I got a nice dirty jar here. I did order some clean jars for the purpose of this video, but they sent the wrong one, so I didn't really bother cleaning these. I had to do a quick rush job to clean these, so bear with it. Also want a screwdriver as well. What's that for, you wondering? That's to open these jars. They're quite can be quite difficult to open. So you're gonna open your jar up. You're gonna pop your paint open. It's kind of hard doing this looking through the camera. Let me just get this open a minute. I'm making a meal out of this. There we go. There's your nice fresh grey paint. Also have some tissue handy because it can get messy pretty fast. You want to give it a good mix before you start pouring it in. It's quite thick. You can feel that as soon as you put your brush in. Give it a good couple of turns. And you just want to go ahead and pour it into the jar. You don't need much of this grey stuff to paint your helmet, but I am painting two, so I'm going to go pretty much half a jar on this. Make sure you get all the drips. Okay. Clean this up so I don't ruin my my cutting mat. This is the part now you want to usually mix the thinner in. People generally do a 1 to 2 mixture, but as you go on, you will you'll start to realise that you really don't need that much. And as you start getting into the airbrushing, you'll sort of you know how much to mix depending on how thick the paint is. This paint is very quite thin enough as it is. You can see it. It's dripping off the brush quite nice already. So I'm only going to put a little bit thinner with it. Probably should use a pipette for this, but I don't have one at hand. Just a little dab of filler. I spilled a little bit there. Give this a nice mix now. This process is pretty much similar for all the colours. The green on the helmet is a custom colour. It's a two-part mixture, which basically means we take equal amounts of colour from two different jars of paint and mix them together with thinner to create the desired colour. Obviously you can add a little bit more of either one, depending on how you like the colour. I like my back panels to be more greeny than blue, so we tend to add a bit more green. Sort of rambling here now. Right, let me put this jar on. Don't want this tipping everywhere. Organisation. Make sure everything's organised when you're painting. It makes things a hell of a lot easier. Here's a little nozzle thing they give you. I usually use my double action one. It's a gravity fed one, so these are kind of new to me. Just place it in, screw it on. And there's your first jar of paint ready to paint. Your first layer of your first colour for the Boba Fett helmet. So get the airbrush now. Unravel this wire. Okay, so I'm going to take the can. I haven't done this for a while, so give me a moment. Right, it's just a screw-on can. Remember correctly, you want to do this fast. So make sure it's threaded. There we go. Now we should have air coming out of this brush. Plenty. Now you want to test now the flow of the paint. So we screw this on. If you do get one of these cheapo brushes, I believe you can alter not the pressure but the amount of paint that comes through by lowering and heightening the jar. The way that if you notice, you can let this focus. Is it gonna focus? Yeah, no. You can raise and lower the height of this little nozzle here, which affects the amount of paint that comes through. So I'll give it a little test now, see if any paint's coming out. As you can see, there's the grey coming out. You don't want to start your spraying directly onto the panel, and you don't want to be, you know, you need to have nice steady movements to get a nice equal coat. Otherwise, you know, you don't want any drips. You can get different shadings as well. When you start the spray, you want to start the spray by here. It's not on the helmet. You want to start spraying off the helmet. Bring it onto the helmet, nice and smooth, and then stop when you're off the helmet. That'll create a nice even coat. And repeat this process all the way up until you finish the panel. Don't try and paint it all in one go. Like before we said with the silver, nice easy coats will do it. So we start at the bottom, work our way up, like so. That looks a little bit patchy in the photo. There we go, that's one of our first colours put down now. I usually leave this for about 5, maybe 10 minutes for it to settle, and then I go ahead then with the second coat. While that's dry, you can go ahead and do the other panel, which is this one here, if you've already masked up. Give the can a little shake a minute. That's the problem with these. So start from the bottom, start off the helmet, nice even coat, like so. Okay, that's pretty much it. You need to repeat this process obviously till you get full coverage. The grey is very It's probably the most difficult one to put down. We'll get to the lighter colours. I always seem to have trouble with the next colour, the beige colour. But with the white colour, because of the silver underneath is a very glossy finish, if you don't get enough coverage of the grey, it's very easy to see the silver coming through. So you want to make sure you get a nice thorough coverage of the grey. So I'll go ahead now, wait till this dries. I'll put on another, I can see another 2 more coats. Also to do the other helmet as well. I'll cut back then once the grey is dried, and we can go ahead and remove the masking fluid. Okay, so it's been about an hour, maybe an hour and a half since we put the grey down. You want to wait until the paint it's not fully dry, it's slightly tacky. You can feel it that it's not fully cured yet. That's when it's the best time to remove the masking fluid. That's what I find anyway. Some folks like to wait till it's fully dried and use their finger to rub it off, but I like to go in with a scalpel. Obviously you don't have to do it this way. You can wait until the paint is fully cured if you feel more comfortable doing that, because you are, stabbing at your work with a sharp knife. Basically you want to find the starting point. Okay, this is kind of difficult now looking through this through the camera. Just find a point. You just want to hook it with a scalpel, put your finger on it, and pull up. Grab it like so, and as you start to pull, the masking fluid will come away, and it will reveal, excuse me there, the silver damage that we masked out earlier. And as you can see, this is the process for a layered paint job. Having the paint slightly wet makes the fluid come off quite easy, compared to if it was fully cured. You'd have a lot of bits coming off. You can see it's slightly, you can't see on the camera, but in real life there's some white areas, which is the tracing paper, the wax down paper we used. Once the paint has fully dried, it's a little wet sponge, we'll get all that off. As you slowly pull, I gotta admit, this is my favourite part of the paint job. It's so fun to do this. Slowly peel it off. Like so. There's the start of your silver damage. You can see we got the grey bits that we missed out in the middle. It's very nice. Most people, well, some of the more experienced painters, they say to check with reference images, to check bits that aren't surrounded by grey, leave the masking fluid on. I don't like doing that, as I find that it's quite difficult then to get the masking fluid up later on. So I tend to just remove it all in one go. It's excuse me. It's a lot easier to get the tape off with just one layer of paint on rather than 3 or 4. That's just my personal preference. Whichever you think is easiest. Just want to keep going until you've got all the masking fluid off. Some are a little bit more difficult than others. This little neck there. As you can see, it's starting to take shape for the silver. What we'll do now in the next video, I'll go ahead. First of all, I'll cover how to wire wool this. We'll gently wire wool this, because where the silver and the grey meets, there's a slight lip. The wire wool will help smooth all that out, so it just feels like one layer of paint. We can then go at it with the stencils, and we'll stencil in the grey details. We'll mask that out, paint the custom beige colour. The beige colour is, off the top of my head, I think it's beige 28, and we have to mist it with another colour. This is a little bit light, the beige 28 is. We can mask that up, and then we'll go into applying the green. So hopefully in the next video we should have some completed back panels.